Hey guys, Matthew here, and this is going to be the third boss killing guide of the series. Today we are going to be looking at Phoenix. So Phoenix is a Shaper Guardian, which means I believe the only real way to acquire them is these maps is basically going to be through awakening a level. There is a % chance to get a Shaper Guardian map when killing a T14 plus boss, and I believe Xana also has a chance to sell them to you once in a while. So this is going to be an awakening level 9 showcase. Now I actually haven't ran the map in this case because I just wanted to showcase what this character looks like for the actual mapping portion. But before that, let's go ahead and have a look at all the mechanics and whatnot of the Phoenix himself. So he has a basic attack which has very little AoE. It's pretty slow, pretty telegraphed, nothing special there. He has the whirling charge, which is kind of like he half charges in 2 directions. It's very, very telegraphed. I'll be able to showcase it. It's pretty damn easy not to get hit by this. However, I'll talk about when in the map mods to avoid. There are some things that can make this significantly harder to deal with. The last thing that he does is the Phoenix Firebomb, where basically he charges up. It's kind of like a discharge, and then boom, he explodes. This does an insane amount of damage. It will pretty much one-shot you. Not to mention that it also reduces your fire resistance by 50% if it touches you, which means that any incoming damage after that is going to be really hard to deal with. In my opinion, however, Phoenix itself is very easy to deal with. What makes this fight significantly more annoying is going to be everything else. So, the attacks themselves are pretty telegraphed, they're pretty easy to deal with, but the adds and the debuffs are what are pretty annoying. So the first thing is that the player gets a debuff that reduces your maximum fire resistance by 1% every time the boss loses 10% of his HP. This is a pretty big deal, which means, because it means by the time the boss is at 10% HP, right, your maximum fire res instead of being 75% is now 66%, which means that any incoming fire damage is going to absolutely murder you, right? So because of this, the subsequent adds are going to be very, very deadly. So the first thing that he does is that basically there's little phoenixes, tiny little phoenixes that are going to appear, and they are targetable and killable, and I highly recommend you focus on killing those before you even focus on killing the boss itself, because these are the things that are more likely to kill you, in my opinion, than the boss himself. So they actually get revived, so you have to kill them constantly, but they are pretty slow, but they do shoot projectiles at you, and they will absolutely murder you if you're not careful with that. The less HP the boss has, the more of these are actually spawned, which is why this boss is one that you want to kill very quickly, especially the second half of the fight, because it can get really, really crazy when there's a ton of these phoenixes on top of the debuff of your maximum fire resistance. On top of that, there's also a little tornado that shows up, and these tornadoes, they travel fairly slowly. That being said, they do an insane amount of damage. If you sit them in them for just a second with a character like mine, you will be dead, like dead and gone. So these are, in my opinion, what you really want to focus on. Phoenix itself, you can basically ignore, just focus on dealing damage to him as you make sure that you don't take any damage from the adds. Okay, so now we've talked about the mechanics and whatnot, let's go ahead and throw in a Phoenix map, and I'm going to showcase basically the clear speed of this build, what it looks like to play this. Now this map is white. I've already mentioned why this doesn't matter in previous videos, and after we're done clearing the map, we're going to be able to fight the boss. So as you can see, this is not like the fastest map clear in the world, but it's also not bad, especially considering we're on a 5-link. In terms of survivability, we're pretty squishy, but not squishy enough to make it so, like, you know, the maps are super, super hard to run. Not to mention that we basically instantly freeze everything, which is pretty much one of the best layers of defense in the entire game, well, for software anyways. So let's go ahead and get ourselves to the boss, and then we're going to go ahead and have a showcase of what that looks like. As always, I'm going to be putting down a portal just in case I die. I'm going to go ahead and swap over to my ice spear so I can do massive single target damage, and let's go ahead and have a look at the boss itself. So here's the mechanics. This is the whirling charge, where he basically spins. This is his auto attack, very easy, very slow, very telegraphed. This is the Phoenix Firebomb, does an insane amount of damage. Here's the whirling charge again. As you can see, we have no adds to deal with at the moment, because, well, you know, there's he's full HP, right? So as we start to damage this guy, he's going to start, you know, spawning all those adds, which is going to make the fight significantly harder. So what I recommend to do, again, is focus on killing the adds and then deal damage to this guy whenever possible. You can pretty much just stay in one spot and just flame dash through him, and you will never have to really worry about it, so long as your map is not AoE. One thing that I highly recommend you do not have you try to avoid, sorry, is AoE or attacking cast speed. The same thing as Minotaur, because this boss with those modifiers, the whirlwind charge becomes really big, and the Phoenix Firebomb becomes literally almost the entirety of the screen, so it becomes pretty crazy. And those also all affect the adds that are spawned, which means the adds, especially with attacking cast speed, are going to be attacking you significantly faster. So anyways, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and start killing the boss. So the first thing I'm going to do is debuff him, then I'm going to throw all of my damaging abilities, throw out my portal, or sorry, my totems, DPS him, and then I'm going to be making sure that I stay the hell away from these tornadoes, the hell away from the phoenixes. I'm going to make sure, this is what I'm focusing on right now. I'm not actually looking at the boss itself. All I'm looking at is these tornadoes. Where are they, right? Where are the tornadoes? Where are the small phoenixes? Those are the things that can kill me. The boss itself, I can basically ignore. I don't even have to look at him because he is extremely slow, extremely telegraphed attacks. I could just look at it with a quarter of my eye and not have to worry about it whatsoever. So this is pretty much what Phoenix looks like. It's a very easy boss to deal with if you are paying attention to the adds more so than to the boss himself. As I've already mentioned, AoE, attacking gas speed, definitely things you want to avoid. And another one would be, of course, you know, any sort of curses that can either lower your resistance, especially fire resistance in this case, and anything that'll slow you down. Things like temporal chains will make this fight significantly harder, as the Phoenix is going to be a lot harder to run away from. If there was Maven, the fight would be the exact same. The only thing with Maven is, remember that what I mentioned in the last video, Frostbomb strategy is extremely important, because Guardian of the Phoenix is one of the two Guardians which has the higher HP pool, such the same as Minotaur, as I mentioned yesterday. And the Frostbomb strategy is going to make it so if Maven shows up and is constantly, you know, reviving him and healing him, this is going to reduce the amount of his recovery by a lot, or his regen by a lot. Now, I didn't have Maven on this fight because my Maven has already witnessed my Forge of the Phoenix and Chimera, but I just wanted to mention it as a quick note. So yeah, that's pretty much Guardian of the Phoenix. Hopefully this video is going to basically make it very easily for you guys to deal with this boss. Before I go though, as always, I want to say a massive thank you to my supporters: Joseph, Atticus, Don, Brandon, Fruitfly, Reese, Panda, Central, Adderant, welcome back, Niraj, Jacob, Thomas, Snake, The Great Master, Raymond, Alex, Emil, Tim, Grimoire, Lost with the Map, Flame Scorpion, Nathaniel, Richard, Johnny, Scott, Ronald, Willie D, Kevin, Moonkiss, Mercury, Bison, and Axel, as well as a massive thank you to anybody else who has supported me in the past or who wishes to remain anonymous. Hopefully this video helps you guys out, and I'll catch you guys in the next guide. Peace.